We're live. Hey guys, how are you today? Good morning. I hope you're enjoying your time. And I thought today was a good opportunity for me to talk a little bit about, I don't know if you can read it, but it says romance. And it's one of my favorite t-shirts for some reason, because I am a hopeless romantic. I love romance. I think it's such a beautiful concept. It's such a almost like otherworldly experience, and it's also very dangerous because of that, right? Because you can get lost in the fantasy of romance, and that's what makes it so enjoyable. But that's also what makes it so risky, because your fantasy can inflate reality to a point where it becomes almost utterly impossible to actually maintain this level of intensity, right? I love to fantasize about all things romance. And for example, social media, Instagram is completely filled with these posts once you start liking a few and once you start saving a few, and it seems like the world is this one big romantic place when it's actually not really the case. Now, that doesn't have to take away from the charm that I think romance embodies, right? That romance is such a charming part of human existence, and it is there to be felt, it is there to be experienced, it is there to be, I think, consumed by, it is there to be heard by, it is there to be filled with excitement by. I think there is so many reasons why romance is an absolute favorite topic of so many creatives, right? Like the big poets, the big artists, musicians. You can't, everybody who was ever creative probably created something around romance or heartbreak, or it has something to do with love, right? Because it's just such a profound part of our human existence. And romance is not only with a romantic partner. I think that romance is kind of like a way of life, right? The way you can flirt with your surroundings, the way you can immerse yourself in nature, absorb the seductive energies that surround you, that surround everyone. There is so much seduction going on everywhere, and there is so many opportunities to engage in a dance with the energies that flow through you, through the world, through other people, through, you know, everything that surrounds us. And I like to live my life with romance in mind. I want to fall in love with myself. I want to fall in love with the world. I want to fall in love with every person that I meet, because they all have something unique. And because of the curiosity that is inherently part of my personality, I want to discover this uniqueness. I want to taste the uniqueness of everything that I encounter, of everyone that I meet. And this is also part of a romantic attitude, I think, because romance is partly known, but it's also a large part mysterious. So there is this kind of discovering, uncovering, figuring out part in romance that is very enticing for me as a person. And that's also why I love to explore the world, why I love to, you know, spend time outside my house, because the house is maybe more kind of like, it's a safe base, but it's also, there is also a danger to become kind of like rigid or too known, right? And then it loses some of the romance. I think there is always has to be some kind of mystery involved, and that spikes the romance even more. And I can really appreciate the big poets, the big authors, the big writers, the big painters, because especially romanticism, this the phase in art history, the energy of this work, it speaks to me, and I mean, it's just a personal preference, obviously, but I thought I'd share some of this love for romance with you, because it's one of the things that can bring so much joy to life, right? If you allow yourself to get excited about these ideas, and you don't get too attached to them, right? Because there's also so many people who view romance as something that they don't have. Or, when you see a cute couple somewhere in the city or in the wherever you are, and you feel envious because you want that. I try to look at it from a different perspective. I see this cute couple, I'm like, that is such a beautiful depiction of romance. That is such a beautiful portrait of what romance actually can look like, right? And I imbue it with my own fantasy, because who knows, maybe they have a really bad relationship and this was just a short moment that looked incredibly romantic, right? So my fantasy creates this aura around them, but I enjoy that. I enjoy sharing in the romance, the energy that they exert, the energy that is radiating off of them, even maybe just only in that single moment. I can appreciate that, I can enjoy that. And it's a pity, I think, and don't get me wrong, I have been there myself, that I was in a state of mind where I could not stand romance because I was so hurt because of previous heartbreak that it was too painful, it was too confronting. It was too confronting to get, in touch with this romantic energy, because it was, at that moment, it seemed to be the cause of a lot of my pain. So I didn't want to engage more with this energy, right? So I understand it, that sometimes you go through a phase in life where you can't stand romance. But I would like to invite you to come back to that initial love for romance, that curiosity, that excitement, that beautiful feeling that romance can, that it can create. And there is a few pitfalls, obviously, right? Like, you don't want to live with your head up in the clouds all the time. At some point you have to ground yourself, you have to stay present, you don't want to, live in a fantasy world. But I love to allow myself to reside there from time to time and just, dream and engage with this energy, engage with these thoughts and ideas, because I think it's a very powerful life force, right? Like, there has been so many, stories and even wars being fought over love and romance. So there is a tremendous amount of power that romance has. It has the capacity to move countries, to move big crowds of people, right? And it has the capacity to inspire, right? Romance is a massive source of inspiration, and that is also, I think, a big reason why I love it so much, because it serves as inspiration for so many beautiful pieces of art. And I love that. I love that about it. So my romantic mindset, my hopeless romantic character, really enjoys living my life in honor, in I want to honor this, animals. I think there is very little animals who actually maybe there are like a few. You can see very cute romantic scenes, but I'm not sure if these animals are actually aware that there is kind of like a romance involved, right? Maybe it's us humans who impose our romantic fantasies on these, animal scenes, like two birds taking care of each other, or I don't know, two cats spending some time together, or whatever, right? I'm just thinking, but so it's a really fantasy world, which makes it very enjoyable because in your fantasy you can make it anything you want, but you have to, I think, mix it with a awareness that it is a fantasy, because otherwise you'll just, get your hands burned. It's too hot, it's too hot, and you want to be careful with that, or not. You can also completely, totally just take the risk and go all in, and then smash your head against the wall at some point, and then deal with the consequences of that. That's also fine. You are more resilient than you think you are. You are able to deal with whatever hardships life throws at you, right? So I am a person like that. I like to go like all in, fully just immerse myself, and then be like, oh shit, I totally like went overboard here, and then I have to like come back to the center. But that's how things go, right? Like there is these cycles you go through, and you plunge into something new, and you learn, and you grow, and you evolve, and then maybe there is a phase where it's a little bit more difficult again, and then you find some new environment, or you meet some new people, and things seem to be moving upwards again. It's you like I said yesterday, I recorded a video talking about not forcing things, wu wei, right? Romance is a part of that. It's this energy that just flows, and that you can really allow yourself to be moved by. And I think it can be a problem once you get too attached to your fantasies. It's never a good thing to get too attached to your fantasies, because they will eventually crumble. So stay grounded a little bit, at least, or most of the time. You don't have to stay grounded all the time, but most of the time, because this will allow you to experience romance in a reality, right? You don't necessarily want to do that if you don't, but at least for me, it is like that I want to be able to bring the romance to the real world for myself. And so I engage with life, I seduce life, I let life seduce me, I allow the energies of nature, move me. I love to allow nature to move me, the feminine energy of the nature to move my more masculine core. And I have a very feminine essence, which is wonderfully interacting with the feminine energy of the world surrounding me, and I love that. I absolutely love that. And at the same time, this is also something that I know I crave, right? Because not in a negative way, but just really in an appreciative way, because I love to engage with this type of energy, because I consider myself a more masculine kind of presence, right? So romance is, I think, a beautiful source of energy, is a beautiful source of joy and excitement. So I hope that maybe you can allow your day to be a little bit more romantic from time to time. Just think about these things. Consider opening yourself up to absorb some of this romantic energy sometimes, and see what it does for you, right? See how it affects your mood, how it affects the way you interact with people or with your surroundings. I think that the world can definitely use some more romance from time to time, and not a compulsive type of romance, right? Not it has to be like this, and if it's not like this, then it's bad. No, more like allow the romantic energy to bring you joy, to bring you some excitement. So that's all I have for you today. I hope it made you enjoy the idea of romance just a tiny little bit more sometimes. And if you are in a stage where you absolutely hate romance, or if you're a person who absolutely hates romance, that's totally fine. I'm just here to share my personal opinion, my personal experiences, and hopefully I can inspire you to taste some of the beauty that this romance can offer you. So I want to thank you for being here with me. I hope you learned something today. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.